What's up, everybody? Welcome back to How It's Done. Today we are going to be replacing this 1-inch ball valve on their backflow preventer. A lot of the times these break right behind it during a freeze. This one is just so rusted out that he's had a lot of trouble operating it, so we're going to get that replaced for him. This is not a hard fix. A lot of the times you will see that when one of these breaks, you have a plumber come out, he's like, oh, it's going to be about $500, $400 to replace the whole system. it this piece can be replaced. You don't need to replace the whole thing. Now, if this is cracked, yeah, you need to replace the whole setup. It comes with the valve here and the one that they've got covered. But if it's just one valve that's cracked behind it, and most of the time you'll have a slit right back here, um, it's not worth the effort of, spending so much money to get it fixed. This is like a $35 valve, and then you'll need a PVC coupling and some glue. That's pretty much all there is to it. A little bit of Teflon tape, but yeah, that's it. So we'll show you how that's done today on How It's Done. First thing we want to do is shut off the water. I like to go to the meter because sometimes from the meter they'll have a separate line that goes straight to the sprinkler system so it doesn't feed through the house. Always good to double check, make sure the water's off anyways, but what I'm going to do is go ahead. If you've got a monkey wrench like this, you can take the jaw out. You've got this little collar that goes in here and sits on that. You can take it out, and this piece right here makes a really good tool to just fit right down there on that little stub and turn it. So when this right here is perpendicular to the pipe, it should be off. So we're going to go ahead and open up one of the spigots, test to make sure the water's off, and we'll get to it. And so we got the spigot open up, and yes, the water is off. So go ahead and close this. Down here near the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and cut this pipe. I like using a Sawzall. Some people like using the ratcheting cutters that you can just clamp it down. I find that on older pipe like this, a lot of the times that runs a higher risk of just breaking the pipe off. And since we're wanting to just do a coupling, I would like to do a Sawzall, but my Sawzall is not working. So I'm going to be using the oscillating tool. Not a huge difference. Just be aware the water is going to come out because it's going to drain what's in the system. So yeah. Once that's done, we'll hook up our big monkey wrench up here at the top and the slightly smaller one here, and we'll twist this off because we don't want this to twist. So we'll use the giant monkey wrench to stabilize, smaller one to just twist, and we'll take this to the back of the truck and get it swapped out. Our 24-inch monkey wrench at the top, holding on to the actual body of it, of the backflow preventer. And then we've got our slightly smaller but not less impressive 18-inch monkey wrench, which is grabbing a hold of the ball valve. We're just gonna give it a little twist. Typically, once you get about a full turn, you can get it by hand. You'll notice I set this horizontally because otherwise this valve handle was going to be blocking the wrench at the top when it spun. So just make minor adjustments as you need, like that. Yeah. So the reason I like working off the back of the truck like that, gives you a better working surface. Just something flat, a little elevated. You're not squatting on the ground doing it. When you're doing this by yourself, definitely comes in handy. What I'm going to do here is clean this off real good with the rag. I just have like a old shirt that I use, keep it in the truck, use it as a rag. I like to stick the finger down in there to get some of the water from overflowing. It's going to come back because it levels itself out, but it'll be a little bit below the surface. And then same thing here, we'll just clean out the inside of this a little bit. I like to use this red hot blue pipe glue. Um, this one's a little bit unique. You don't need to use a cleaner with it unless it's required by code. So I don't typically use a cleaner. Um, what I'll do is just do a liberal coating inside the coupling and then also along the outside of the pipe. Just stick it down in there snug and give it a good quarter turn. And that quarter turn will prevent it from pushing itself back out, which sometimes does happen. I've really only seen that on the larger pipes, but sometimes it does it on 1 inch. So good to give it a quarter turn. Clean up the stones with the glue dripped on. Cool. Then while that's setting, we'll go ahead and get some Teflon tape put on this guy. Remember when you're doing Teflon tape to go in the direction of your thread where it's going to be tightening up so that you're not removing the Teflon tape as you're putting the pieces on. So we'll do that. And then one thing to think about when you're putting this valve on is which way you want the valve to be. Or, I'm sorry, which way you want the handle to be. Let me take that off. So if I want the handle to be up when it's on, which looks kind of silly, and depending upon how it ends up, can be blocked. That's not what we want to do. So I want to have it down when it's on, and then it can come out. So if it's down, nothing's going to be obstructing it. And if it's up, nothing's really going to be obstructing it, with the exception of it ending up this way, which, we'll address. So we're going to try and get it here. Might end up here, but anyway. So we'll put the bottom, get that connected, thread that in. And I don't want to overdo this. For me, I just do that one as tight as I can get it by hand. We got the Teflon tape on there. Thread him back in. Once I get it hand tight, get it just a little bit tighter with the wrench. And again, with this being metal on metal, I'm not too worried about me snapping it off. I've done that with the PVC before, so I don't want to overdo that. So now we'll slide our insulation on and then put this piece in place and get that glued in. So take the insulation. Oh, I probably should have done that beforehand. Yeah, should have done that beforehand. That would have been a lot easier because got a lot of pressure on this joint down here. Run the risk of breaking that. But lessons learned in time, right? Okay, so there's that. We'll take this other piece of insulation, slide that down. Oh, well, get that as close as we can. And then again with the glue. Some glue on the inside. Get some glue on the outside of the pipe. Now with this one, I'm not going to be able to twist it to hold it in place, so I'm just going to press down and hold it for a good 30 seconds. And then that should do it. And we will give it a good 15 minutes before we apply any pressure to this. Um, and once I apply pressure, I'm only going to open the valve. Well, I'll show you. You'll see. But I typically only open the valve about halfway and let the water start flowing in gently so you don't get a slam of water rushing in. Um, so, yeah, you'll see. All right, that should be long enough. So it's been about 15 minutes, and now it's time to open this valve back up a little bit. You can see this guy spinning here. That means there's water flowing. And then this will tell you how many gallons, but this will be spinning a lot faster than this guy, so that's going to be your indicator that there's water flowing. We're just going to let that go until it stops or slows down. And that means most of the air is pushed out of the system. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and open it up the rest of the way, just like that. Go ahead and close this up, and we'll open that spigot and let what air might still be in the system out. All right, and then we just inspect this area for leaks. A little bit of something there, but that's not anywhere near what we were working on. So yeah, don't see any leaks here. I would say job well done. In order to get the air out of this system, we're going to have to run the sprinkler system itself, but that's not really a super huge deal. The reason I like to run the spigots is because there is no aerator on it, and any debris that may be in the lines and getting pushed through is going to come straight out instead of getting stuck in an aerator. So that's pretty much it. If you like videos like this, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, leave us a comment, tell us if this is the type of system you got or if yours looks different, and if this was helpful. And we'll see you next time on How It's Done.